We are back. What's up, guys? So, here's how we're going to do this. We are here to catch up on some content that we missed out on a couple of weeks ago. We had Saturday night's main event. We had NXT's Great American Bash. And we also had AEW's All In. I did not do Supercard of Honor because I didn't watch Supercard of Honor, but we did watch these other three, so we want to actually review and cover those. I'm looking at my computer right now so I can keep up with the matches. And I think we're going to do... Let's go in somewhat chronological order because some of these events ran at the same time. Again, that's that competition with AEW going on. But all right, here's the deal, guys. You know our system here. We don't do star ratings. We do title ratings. It's our casual system of rating just based on purely, my enjoyment of the matches in question. So not a whole lot happened on Saturday. Well, no, that's a lie. Some stuff did happen on Saturday night's main event. However, if I were to rate the whole show, Saturday night's main events are sometimes viewed as missable events, and you probably could have missed this, but that doesn't mean the wrestling on the show was crappy. It's just that, So I'm just trying to make sure I get this match order correctly. I believe Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre was first. It says Randy won with an RKO after interference from Jelly Roll and Logan Paul. As you may or may not know, Logan Paul is being the hilarious hypocrite right now, saying, "Hey, we don't want all you guys, celebrity guys, coming in talk about some, you guys want to be part of pro wrestling or whatever." When he's literally that. He can go in ring, but his character is literally shifted towards the fan sentiment of, "We don't want you guys here. You don't belong in pro wrestling." So he sees Jelly Roll, and now there's this tag team match building at SummerSlam. But before that, we had the Saturday night's main event match with Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre. So Randy did win, which I was actually surprised. I actually had picked Drew McIntyre to win this match because he just came back off an injury. Yeah, so you think he would let Drew win here, and then I guess have the good guys win at SummerSlam, but whatever. Match was okay. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't thrilled. I'm sure Jelly Roll will probably have bigger moments at SummerSlam. I gave this a 3 titles out of 5. Just because I just wasn't thrilled, and that's pretty much just where I landed on this. But anyway, the next match tonight was the United States Championship match with Jimmy Uso challenging Solo Sikoa. And like I thought, Solo Sikoa, of course, won. And then we get, some interference. There's, that's pretty much the thing with the Bloodline family, or the MFTs as now Solo Sikoa's group is called, My Family Tree. So I'll shout out to them finally naming the group, but I don't know. I don't think it's a bad name. I don't think it's a great name. I don't know. Comment what you think of that name. I have very limited feelings on it. I'm not impressed. It's just My Family Tree, right? So, the match was all right. I'm giving this. I'm giving this a 3-2 just because. So I had to go back and watch this too because I caught the last 2 matches live after All In had ended. The day of, I was watching All In dominantly, and then I switched to Saturday night's main event. and then I went backwards to see the rest of it, and then I saw NXT Great American Bash. So that is how I manage that. And this is all on a work weekend for me, so that's why we're catching up with this content now, because yeah, living a very busy life over here. Anywho, yeah, that one gets 3 titles for me. Saw a little bit of Tala Tonga getting action. Still hasn't had a match yet. And of course, Jacob Fatu came up for the save. At post match shenanigans. To save cousin Jimmy. Okay, this is where show gets interesting for me from here, but we had an unfortunate event happen. So we had LA Knight versus Seth Rollins, and this was a very well worked match to me. Just off the bat, I'll just tell you, this gets 4 title belts from me, but the unfortunate part of this is, as well as the match was worked and as into it as people were, unfortunately, the injury happened, which people are debating. Was this a real injury? Was it not a real injury? Seth Rollins did like a rope moonsault, landed on his knee bad. It's the same one he had injured previously at a live event. And yeah, it buckled bad. The close of the match was awkward. Ordinarily, when people are injured in real time, what usually happens is cameras cut away and they come up with, some talk and some excuse. It didn't happen here. They kept the camera on him the whole time, like they did with the whole Liv Morgan shoulder injury. And this has everybody thinking that this is a work, that this is fake, that they were acting. And so word is from the news sites is that Seth was supposed to win. I picked LA Knight to win, so I got it, unfortunately, by injury. The doctors are checking on him, the refs checking on him, and then the ref, is seeing messing with their, their box, so they're probably hearing from gorilla position in their ears that, hey, okay, we're gonna have to just, shut this thing down and see if, Seth can take a BFT to, end the match. And that's exactly what happened. And, they played it off well enough. I give it a 4. It's very unfortunate. It's getting a 4 out of goodwill just because I would rate something probably like a 2 or a 1 when somebody's like hurt in a match, but it was really well worked before that. So yeah, I'm not going to be a Debbie Downer on these guys. Speaking of Debbie Downers, Goldberg. Last but not least, we had the Goldberg challenging Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship, and they did all right. This was exactly what it needed to be for Goldberg, saying goodbye, more or less. We'll touch on that in a second. But it was okay. I'm gonna no-sell some things. I'm gonna look like a big, strong dude, not move around a whole bunch. The dude is not a cardio king anymore. But the dude got to go out his own way for the most part, challenging for, a belt that looks very similar to the old WCW title, that became the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And yeah, smoke and mirrors is what this is. Gunther is a reliable pair of hands, and he pretty much gets to retire Goldberg. So no, that was it. I don't have anything wholly negative to say, but let's be real. This was not your 5-star affair. The guy's old, and this was just a show-off match. So listen, here's what we're gonna do. I was thinking before I was gonna rate this like a 2 or 2.5. Give it a 2 belt and a tag team title. I'm going to give it a 3 because I'm nice. Call me a sucker, but we all know that this was just to say goodbye to Goldberg. So, match happened. Match happened. What else can I say about that? Now, about the post match, Goldberg had a wonderful speech to, close out and thank all his friends and family and everything. But he got cut off. And everybody thinks that this is, Triple H getting one last rib on the guy or whatever and, cutting off his feed. It went to commercial after the match, and then it came back and he got to say a few things, and then it cut. And there's two trains of thoughts. It's either this is the last screw you to Goldberg. It said that Triple H has this thing against the WCW guys. That's why he went over, against Sting and the NWO that, gave him backup while he had the Click helping him out at WrestleMania that one year. But, I don't know. I don't know whether I think that or not. I wouldn't put it past Trips, but I'm not going to accuse him of anything. But also, this wasn't just your regular PLE event. These are Saturday Night's Main Events, which are also on free TV on NBC. So I can't tell you what to think there. Maybe it was set up as one last final rib. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Saturday Night's Main Event. I want to move on to something a lot more exciting. Great American Bash, which I was going to do it in chronological order. I kind of wanted to get the Debbie Downer one out the way first. So, hey, I was a dude from the NXT Gold in Black era. I loved NXT takeovers. NXT PLEs are awesome, and these guys always deliver. We had 4 big matches. Sorry, not 4, 5. This isn't showing me something. Let me get the count right here. Let me see just a second. Why is it doing that? Yeah, it's 5, not 4. I knew something was wrong here. Anyway, we had that bouncy boy, Javon Evans, surprisingly defeating Jasper Troy by pinfall in a 13-minute match, 13 and a few seconds, 13 and a half minute match, and it was really, really good. Very exciting. I can't remember if it was a post-match beatdown or not. I don't think that rivalry is wholly over yet. If you've been watching NXT TV, and even this past Tuesday, The Undertaker said, "You keep going after the biggest dog in the yard." So it may be over, may not. I don't think it's over. And I need to see some gold on Javon Evans. I think it's time. Give him the North American title. Something, right? Shoot, give him the NXT title right after that. He deserves something. Heritage Cup, something. I would prefer the North American title, but people have mixed feelings about the Heritage Cup. I like it. I just think maybe it might need a bigger highlight if it's going to be a mid-card title for NXT. I don't know. Anyway, Stax has that right now, so I don't know. That could be something that could be set up later down the line. But it was a greatly worked match. I'm giving this 4 out of 5 title belts. Yeah, I had this one wrong. I had Jasper Troy winning. Continuing the dominance, but they kept it interesting and they gave us Javon Evans. So thank you, WWE. Chef Sean cooking it up. Let's move on. Next, we had some title action. We had the women's North American title up for grabs in a very exciting match. Sol Ruka came out with her partner Zarya and defeated Izzy Dame with Tatum Paxley by pinfall. I do remember for this match, you have to excuse me too, like these matches happened a couple weeks ago, so I am kind of shooting off the dome here. I did like something specific in this match besides just the in-ring work. Sol Ruka hit the Soul Snatcher off of the ropes. I mean, she's always hitting off the ropes, so she usually does it from the corner. And I like that she hit it from a different angle. It shows how versatile she is and how versatile that move can be. Ladies finishers for me, let me back up. My favorite female finisher for the longest time was Ember Moon's, now known as Athena in Ring of Honor and AEW. The Eclipse, when she was Ember Moon, was like the coolest thing for me. She does a whole flip in the air and lands in a stunner, and it's awesome. The Eclipse is now called the O Face, and she's still doing that move, and it's awesome. To me, these two moves, and we know it's not all about the moves, but there's those big exciting moments. You gotta love those. And to me, this is like, all right, we have like a stunner type move and a cutter type move. Like a flipping cutter, like flipping like invertedly into a cutter, and then like a flip off the top rope into a stunner. I don't know which one of those moves I think is better. Anyway, the match was good. I want to see more from Izzy Dame, but Sol Ruka's got it. Yeah. I'm going to rate this one. I'm gonna give it a 3.5. Like I said, I want to see a bit more from Izzy Dame. I'm not a hardcore critic. I still have a lot of goodwill toward this match, but I want to see more from Izzy Dame. If it's worth more to you guys, though, let me know in the comments, and I will maybe review this match again. But I don't. It didn't wholly do it for me, so let's move on here. Here we go. In Falls Count Anywhere match action, we had for the NXT North American Championship for the dudes, we had Ethan Page defeating Ricky Saints by pinfall. What do you get when you put two dudes who hate each other's guts in a match and they're allowed to do anything and then pin each other anywhere? This match ended in a Razor's Edge and Eagle's Edge. Tossed Ricky Saints off of the stage into a bunch of tables. Actually, wait, did Ethan go with him? I can't remember. I don't know. I think he jumped on him afterward and then pinned him in all of the destruction, which was super cool. Ricky, went right after him during the beginning of the match. Ethan Page comes back and, hey, they just, go back and forth and tear each other apart. It's good wrestling action. You can't hate it. Give this one a 4. Yeah, I wonder what they do with Ricky Saints from here, though. I don't know. He's already had one run with the North American title. I don't see him getting fast-tracked to the main roster. I think he needs to spend a lot more time in NXT. But there's a lot of people saying that Ethan Page is like main roster ready, and he could probably join Seth Rollins' little faction or something. I don't know about all of that. But I can't lie, that would be interesting to see. But we'll see what happens. More title action with Obafemi defending against Yoshiki Inamura. So a couple things. If you don't know who this guy is, he's like a sumo-inspired wrestler from Japan. He's on excursion from Pro Wrestling Noah. Another... Besides New Japan Pro Wrestling, there's a few other promotions in Japan worth watching. Pro Wrestling Noah is one of them. I think All Japan is actually still a thing, but it's not as big as New Japan. I think there's DDT for wrestling. But Noah's another big one, maybe like the second biggest in Japan. And he's on excursion in NXT. Just like Josh Briggs a while ago went under it. And those two, they have this, their friendship and, through that excursion. And they team together. And so now it's a battle of honorable warriors. Inamura from Japan, Obafemi from Nigeria. And they both have this awesome warrior spirit thing going for them where they're like, we just want to have it out, no side stuff, no nonsense. Just let's fight. And it was a fun match. Josh Briggs, however, is, I guess, leaning towards a heel turn now because he tries to get Inamura to cheat. I believe he tries to, hit Oga at one point. Or not tries, I think he does hit Oga. And yeah. Doesn't do anything, though. Fall from grace. 1, 2, 3. Obafemi wins. We do know some of the follow-up is that, they had a triple threat from this past Wednesday. So Oba's still champ, though, from that. So we'll see where else leads. Josh Briggs is probably turning on Inamura at some point. The upper card for the men on NXT, it seems like they always have something going for the ladies, but with the men, they're in a process of like building up stars, and you really wonder how long are they going to keep Obafemi, not just in NXT but as champ. I don't know. Give this one a 4. I was really excited, for the back and forth action, and then the story of Josh Briggs, interrupting this honorable fight. So, last but not least, Jordan Grace and Blake Monroe defeating Fatal Influence, JC Jane and Fallon Henley, and Jasmine Nix on the sideline. You would think Jasmine would be in this match. I don't know if they trust her work. I don't know why Jasmine Nix is I don't know if she's hurt or maybe they don't see something in her. I don't know what's going on. Jasmine Nix is a weird case right now because it's like in tag team situations, you would think you would have Jasmine Nix in there. This past NXT, they're still having miscommunication and whatever. I don't know if they're teasing a breakup with them or not, but JC Jane is now double champ in TNA. But yeah, that's kind of the story of this match is, okay, it's who's going to... Oh, wait, sorry, no. I'm thinking about Evolution. I'm ahead of myself. We already reviewed Evolution, and JC Jane won the follow-up match the next day. But Blake Monroe and Jordan Grace won this match. First action from Blake Monroe. We already saw in AEW. We know she's good. I can't remember if it was this match or the Evolution match, but there was, some unique power moves from Jordan Grace. I was really happy to see it. Anyway, but Blake Monroe, I believe she got the pinfall 1, 2, 3, and yeah. I'm underselling this match just because I know it's going to be a long section getting through All In, but I just want to hurry up and move on to that. But trust me when I say they did good work here. I'm not going to rate it any higher than a 4, though. I did have fun with it. It got the most time here of any of the matches here. So they did good work. They did a good job showing Blake off. And she just had her first solo match this past week, too. And Jordan Grace is still ticked off at her for ruining the Evolution match where she tried to get the NXT title from JC Jane. Yeah, then JC went on to beat Master Slamovich in TNA. That's a choice, but anyway. Like I said in the Evolution R&R, though, JC Jane can work, and this is one of the, I understand why she won the title. It's not what I would have picked, but I guess they didn't want people to be like, oh yeah, JC Jane actually isn't all that, but there's also this conversation about WWE taking over TNA and just dominating their product. So long term, I would just say sit tight and watch, because maybe the payoff, the dethroning of JC and Trick Williams eventually, will probably be better off. I don't know who gets it in the ladies division, the knockouts in TNA, who dethrones JC Jane, but maybe for the men, they are probably leaning into Mike Santana. So, alrighty. Let us get into AEW All In Texas 2025. And let me tell you, I made a video about this right after it happened, and it did not work when I posted it. I don't know why. Either YouTube was being weird or my computer was being weird, but the adrenaline was running through like my brain the entire time I was watching this. I'm sorry. Now I know, like, I have nothing against the. Well, maybe I have a little bit against it. I don't know. I'm in a weird place when it comes to WWE competing with AEW on the same day, having the Great American Bash, then Saturday night's main event, all while All In starts at 3:00 and runs through both of these events halfway through the last one. So let me just find. I didn't predict any matches on the 0 hour, but if you care, on the 0 hour we had an 8-man tag team action with the Sons of Texas, Dustin Rhodes, and Sammy Guevara, and the Von Erichs, Ross and Marshall, and their dad. What is it? Kevin Von Erich, I think his name is. I may have that wrong. I am not sure. Doesn't show his name here right now. But we had the Von Erichs with the Sons of Texas against Shane Taylor Promotions with Shane Taylor, Lee Moriarty, Carly Bravo, and Captain Shawn Dean. That's the one team I don't know here. I know Shane Taylor Promotions. I know Sons of Texas. I don't know the Von Erichs. I've seen some of their stuff. Anyway, there's no rates here. There's no reviews for me because I didn't watch the 0 hour. I was still at work, but I did pick the main card, and I got home to watch the main card. So let's check out who won this. Sons of Texas won, and the Von Erichs won. I think they did get some Iron Claw action help from Kevin, so that was cool. I'm glad they can, get some, some hype behind them with all the tragedy in that family. Don't watch that movie if you're not prepared to be bummed out. The Iron Claw movie tells you a decent amount of the Von Erich story. But anyway, next up on the 0 hour, we had 8-man tag team action again with Big Boom AJ and the Conglomeration. We hologram Kevin, Kyle O'Reilly and Tomohiro Ishii, defeating the Don Callis family representatives of Hechicero, Lance Archer, Rocky Romero, and Trent Beretta. Good. The Don Callis family is like one of the biggest groups of heels in wrestling right now, in my opinion. And Don Callis himself is one of the biggest heel managers, period. Like, you can't help but hate that guy. I'm going to tell you why a little bit later on in one of the 3 main events, but he gets involved. Just a slight spoiler. And then we had a tag team match of FTR versus the Outrunners, and of course the FTR boys beat the Outrunners. So he still couldn't get it done. But people like the Outrunners. I'm not into that gimmick that much. I'm not a huge fan of like 80s wrestling, and they're like Truth Magnum and Turbo Floyd. Even in the names, you can see like they're referencing, old school wrestling. So, but I can't lie, they're entertaining. They're fun. Just not their biggest fan. Maybe they'll get me. Maybe they'll win me over as a fan later on. But anyway, all right. To the actual things that we predicted, the main card. We had AEW World Trios Champions, the Ops, Samoa Joe, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Katsuyori Shibata defeating the Death Riders. I don't know why I almost said his last name first. Claudio Castagnoli versus Wheeler Yuta, and guest starring from New Japan Pro Wrestling in place of Pac, Gabe Kidd. This dude looked like a killer. Okay? This dude looked crazy. This dude was awesome. And he recently defeated Hiroshi Tanahashi in New Japan, and he's on his farewell tour. This is his last year, and he's getting beat. Oh, come on, man. Go Ace. Anyway, it was a good match. I'm gonna look, there's gonna be a lot of fours on this match, on this card. AEW definitely prides itself on a lot of the in-ring action. Some people think that, oh, it's all just flippy doos and whatever and blah blah blah. There's ground wrestling too, guys. Don't get it twisted. And it's really exciting. My heart was pumping the entire night. You gotta love the love for Samoa Joe in this match too, and you got to see him get the pin too. We start off the main card pretty happy. Oh, one last note though, the Death Riders, because we have this whole interconnected storyline with the Death Riders and versus the AEW people. They want to reshape AEW into their way. They think everybody is soft and whatever. After the match, they regroup and they Pillmanize Samoa Joe's head and neck, and that writes him off. That actually writes the Ops off of the whole rest of the show, even though they've been aligned with Hangman Adam Page. So they, spoiler, they did not show up in the main event to help out. So the remaining allies, seemingly the remaining allies that Adam has, is Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland, and they have a match later to see if they can get the EVP's titles taken away from the Young Bucks. Not titles as in belts, for those who don't know. These guys are the executive vice presidents of AEW in real life and on screen. So on screen, they are getting this taking away from them. So moving on. These guys are off the show for the rest of the time. The Casino Gauntlet matches. I want to talk about the men's one. That was the next match, of course. It took me a second to get it. Just to explain how this match works, it's a gauntlet match, where people, come through continuously, but it's more of a Royal Rumble type situation with the prize almost being Money in the Bank. And it's creative, but I was just taken out of it a little bit, not as far as the stakes go, but it's like people come at it random. There's no timer like the Royal Rumble. And this was pretty much a Rumble match. It's not your regular gauntlet match where you beat somebody else comes out, or you get beat and your spot is taken, and whoever is the last man standing is the winner. So that's, I guess, my one micro issue with these matches. Somebody could literally, it could be a one-on-one match. Two people start off the match. And so I guess that's why, MJF and Mark Briscoe were competing for those spots. But if the timers for these people coming out, if their numbers are called, as they say, somebody could not get called, somebody could get called. Or you could get pinned or submitted before anybody's called. So I guess that explains the desire to get the number one or the number two spots leading up to All In. But I'm not exactly sure I vibe with the rest of it. Some people were like, "Oh no, it's actually pretty cool because it's completely unpredictable. You never know who's gonna come out, or you don't know if they'll even get a chance." I don't know. One criticism I think I saw, it might have been Wrestle Juice that said, shout out to you guys, but I think Steve from Wrestle Juice said that it might be nice that maybe we get like a camera on the people who are waiting to get their numbers called to help with this. Anyway, again, I'm not going to give these matches their proper due because I'm like weeks away from having seen these matches, but from what I remember, I rated that, again, everybody gets their spot, coming out. I'm just going to tell you my rating of the matches, unless I really have something big off of memory to say about these matches. But again, this is a night full of fours. I give it a 4. The action was good. And MJF stole the win from Mark Briscoe. Stolen quotations, because it's not like anything here was like there's no cheating going on here. He just took advantage of the a downed opponent that Mark Briscoe had taken down. So tough luck, but MJF got the win. I think I had predicted Mark Briscoe to win, and I was wrong about that. MJF was definitely the more obvious pick. I wanted to be different and try to rep Delaware a little bit. So there you go, Mark. Sorry about that, but and then news got sad. I already covered this in a short, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. But Adam Cole, semi-retired. He said he's not thinking about retirement just yet. He needs to be in a proper mind space for that. But yeah, he's going to be out indefinitely. We have no idea what's going to happen with him. It's likely his neck or concussion issues again. It's just a real shame with Adam Cole's run in AEW because a friend of mine said he hasn't spent any more than 10 months not injured. And yeah, they go a little bit more hardcore in AEW, but it's sad to see. It's likely the injury happened in that match with Kyle Fletcher when he put him over a powerbomb position and landed him on his head and neck on the side of the ring instead of where they're supposed to land, which is, I believe, like around their like back and shoulder areas. It doesn't hurt as bad, but no, he got his whole head and neck whipped on the apron. It wasn't a pretty sight. But following that, we had a 4-way match to crown a new champion. He was the TNT champion. Dustin Rhodes ended up pulling double duty. He was on the 0 hour. Not just Dustin Rhodes, Daniel Garcia. So the Sons of Texas, not Daniel Garcia, sorry, Sammy Guevara ended up getting put in a match with Kyle Fletcher and Daniel Garcia. I'm guessing it was likely that Adam Cole was going to win this match. I think I picked Adam Cole to retain in my original pick. And then when I picked again, I think I said Kyle Fletcher because it's like, oh, well, he might have won anyway. So I redrafted my pick to Kyle Fletcher, but I was happily wrong. Dustin Rhodes, older brother of Cody Rhodes, shockingly came away with the TNT championship, and it was highly emotional. You could really see he got a big singles title win in AEW, and it was really cool to see. As far as the match itself goes, it was really hard to follow Adam Cole's message, but I still had a lot of goodwill to it, so I'm going to give it a 3.5. So 3 belts and a tag team belt, just because it's a hard thing to follow that, and it's kind of, I'm emotionally like still dealing with that, and I got to see somebody else get crowned, but you get that half from me because I have a lot of goodwill towards Dustin, and I was shocked by the result. It was awesome. Not much you can say about that. So, and you gotta love the in-ring drama too between him and Sammy Guevara. We had these tag champions come together, and it's like, hey, like I need this. So Dustin is a triple champion right now. He is Ring of Honor 6-man tag team champion and regular tag team champions with Sammy Guevara. And now he's got the TNT championship. So let's see what they do with that. But oh my goodness, I was looking for it. The rest of the night is awesome. It just gets more and more awesome as we go through. We had I'm gonna give this one a 4-2 off the bat. Again, I'm not gonna do a lot of these matches justice, but the women's section for the Casino Gauntlet match, I believe I picked Chris Statlander to win, which I don't know why I picked people who were. I should have been more wide open with this, but Athena was in this match. She announced that she was going to do this after retaining her Ring of Honor Women's Championship the night before on Friday night in Supercard of Honor. She's from Texas, and we actually get hometown wins in AEW, unlike some other places. I love those other places, but sometimes those people should win in certain situations, and they don't in their hometown. But anyway, throat's getting dry. Excuse me, guys. Athena, one of my favorite lady stars, in Ring of Honor, AEW, wherever. I loved her in Ember Moon, as Ember Moon, excuse me, in WWE. Very cool NXT run, and then went to the main roster, and unfortunately just didn't get that same shine. You know, trips past her off the vents, and then, like many people, it doesn't matter how good you are in ring. It's just you go bye-bye. So I was really sad to see her go, but when she started back on the Indies, I was really happy for her. And then she ends up in AEW and mostly on Ring of Honor. But we have been getting our wish with her lately. She has been put on AEW TV, so thank you for that, Tony Khan. The match was dope, though. At one point, I got concerned that she couldn't win because she got hit with some crazy move on the outside and then crawled aside, and I thought she might have been hurt. And then, no, she comes back and hits the O-face on, I think, Mina Shirakawa. It was just a cool way to end the match. And, of course, hometown win. Athena and Billy Starks in Ring of Honor are two heels that you kind of want to root for just because they're likable in their whole little master and minion situation. So it's just fun to watch. But anyway, I actually skipped ahead one, at least according to this. I thought this match happened afterward. The EVP match, the Young Bucks versus the boys, Will Ospreay and my boy Swerve Strickland. I swerve when I try. I swerve when I try. Get your fire. Anyway, you probably won't see me do that again on camera. Probably. A very exciting match. I am giving this 5 titles. Go watch this event. I think you can still buy the replay of this. If you did not watch this, I can't express how exciting this match was. They say AEW is mostly about in-ring work and not storytelling. There was plenty of the storytelling here. Please just go watch this. Please just go watch this. I'm gonna try to get through the rest of these really quickly. It's getting late. We had the AEW World Tag Team Championship 3-way match with the Hurt Syndicate defeating Jet Speed and the Patriarchy. I had picked the Patriarchy because I had heard that Christian Cage wanted to finish up this story with the Patriarchy before rejoining a storyline where they probably reunite with Adam Copeland, formerly known as Edge. But no, that didn't happen. The Hurt Syndicate retained. Big power moves from them, big speedy, flip moves from, Speedball and Kevin Knight. Heel shenanigans from, the patriarchy. And then even more so because they turn on Christian Cage after the match, which shocked me. I was like, oh, I thought we were going to build up to that too. No, it just happened. So yeah, and then Adam Copeland returned to save him, and then instead of saying "go f yourself" like Christian Cage said to him before, he said, "Go find yourself." So we're slowly building to a reunion between them, so that should be fun. Anyway, match rating. I did rate the match. I had some goodwill towards it, but I don't know. I think at this point in the match, it was getting slightly hard to watch. This event went forever. Okay, not forever. I think it was like what, 6 hours? So like I said, this lasted like through 1.5 WWE events. And as exciting as this was, I was starting to like come down from my adrenaline and serotonin high. So but that does not change how much it was exciting. And I was kind of happy to be wrong about the prediction. I'm going to give this a 3.5. Yeah. We had 3 main events coming up next. And I'm glad that they did this because the ladies were up first. I'm glad they got the distinction of being called a main event. No, it wasn't going on last. But anyway, Toni Storm defeated Mercedes Moné. I picked Mercedes to do this. What's my score so far? Let's see. How many matches did we pick? We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So there's 10 matches, and I had that one right. 1. MJF 1. No, didn't win that. TNT Championship. My recall was wrong. Swerve and Will Ospreay 1. Okay, I got that one right. Didn't call Athena winning, so got that wrong. Tag Team Championship match. I wanted to pick the Hurt Syndicate too. That sucks. Okay, so I was wrong about that. Toni Storm defeated Mercedes Moné. I was wrong about that. I had the main event. Okay, 3 out of 10. That's bad. Gotta start paying attention more to All Elite Wrestling. 4-star match for the ladies. Because it was absolutely great. I would give this a 5. You know what? I'm gonna give this a 4.5, but I'm gonna tell you why it's not. I'm gonna tell you there's 2 reasons why it's not a full 5 title match for me. There is a moment in this match, and I understand there is sexually charged energy with Toni Storm. Okay, I understand that, but sometimes I think it's just a bit much. And the moment where she has her in a tombstone position and she bites her, or bites or whatever. If you look up close, I don't think she's actually like, but it's just takes me out of it. Again, I don't recommend that your kids watch AEW. I think this is purely for us hardcore wrestling fans, the elite wrestling fan. Yes, pro wrestling is for everybody, but sometimes it has age limits. So, yeah. Oh, and then there was I don't mind spam finishers, and I don't mind somebody kicking out of a finisher, especially in high value matches like this. But if somebody hits a finisher 3 times in a row and kicks out, I actually find that to be problematic. That was something else that took me out of this. So first, there's 3 Storm Zeros hit on Mercedes Moné, and she kicks out. And you could look at it as one of 2 ways. You could think of, oh, that's like understanding somebody's finisher, or you could look at it like it took this much to put this person away. Like hitting 3 finishers, which has happened with, Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. But whatever. That was my only two negatives about this. That was worth just a half a point off for me. Because it was still a amazing match. The entrances were cool. The in-ring work was cool. The character work was awesome. So yeah, no new title belt for Mercedes Moné, but she still got all that gold. So we'll see. We had, what is this? Okada Omega 5, I think it is. Okay, this was the match of the whole show I was the most excited to see. I picked Kenny to win, and I was sadly wrong. Through interference, through Don freaking Callis. Okada won. Now, I believe Kenny did get to kick out of one Rainmaker, but... And they protected his finish, too. I think his finisher, the One Winged Angels, is even more protected than the Rainmaker. But that's where Don Callis pulled out the ref, which should result in a DQ. And I've seen a lot of people criticize this part of this match in the weeks since this, and I gotta agree that it's kind of bad that AEW really does pride themselves on like the rules, except maybe like the early tag team matches. We forgot about that, but yeah. Some of those old tag team matches wrestled like tornado tags, and then this one, like, that's a blatant. I don't know. There's rough spots like that. There's no DQ matches where we see refs get pulled out, or whatever. But then it's like, okay, when it plainly happens, and nothing is done about it. It's kind of annoying. And of course, I wanted to see Kenny win. That's my personal disappointment. Not that the match was bad at all. I didn't give it a whole 5, but I did give it 4.5 titles. It was a greatly worked match. Gotta love Kenny's entrance too with this. It was super cool. The Assassin's Creed entrance and the Swerve Strickland coming out with JoJo Offerman. Those were, to me, those were the entrances of the night. 5-star match incoming, or 5 title match. We had Hangman Adam Page finally beating the leader of the Death Riders, Jon Moxley, formerly known as Dean Ambrose in WWE. And just, again, AEW is not for kids, in my opinion. Okay, there's probably some stuff for kids in that. But as a Texas death match, of course, it was going to be bloody. It was going to be brutal. And it was, because the freaking match started with Jon Moxley getting stabbed in the head with a fork. And throughout the whole rest of the match, he's bleeding. He doesn't just have a crimson mass. There's moments where his head is leaning to the side on the floor, and twice you see him like graphically bleeding puddles on the floor. And I'm sitting here like, oh my God. End this match fast, please, gentlemen. Like, do whatever crazy crap you're going to do to each other and get out of there. And we know John is used to working that style. We know that Hangman has worked that style. Maybe Mox more than Adam. But they're both capable of going to that dark place and just brutalizing each other and cutting each other up. And it's not, the death matches are not my thing. I can do a little hardcore extreme action. But when I see that kind of thing, it's, yeah. Despite that, the ring work and the character work and the whole story coming about, we had, Ospreay try to come out and help. He helped for a second, and then he got taken down and Pillmanized, which was a way to write him off because he's legit injured in real life. Samoa Joe was written off just because he's got some stuff with Twisted Metal to do. But it leads up to, all right, well, the ops aren't here. The only person left is Swerve. Except Swerve isn't the only person. The whole moment cuts, and we get a promo cut from Mount Everest from Darby Allin. Then it cuts, and he comes down from the railing. Actually, I think this might have been, before Darby Allin rappels down from the Raptors. We first get Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson, excuse me, still getting used to that, coming through and hitting a psycho knee on either Jon Moxley or one of the Death Riders, whatever, because they've, now the Death Riders are in the match and they're interrupting stuff. And sorry, I am out of breath, running my mouth. I'm almost done, guys. I'm not sponsored by the Ravens, but that'd be really cool. Anyway, Danielson hits a Busaiku knee, and he either exits or gets taken out himself, and then Darby Allin comes down, hits a coffin drop on the outside. So we'll probably see that rivalry with him and Jon Moxley picked up in the future. I would love to see a nice close on that. And then Swerve delivers his moment finally. Ooh, sorry, I thought my... Oh, nope, it is going out. Finally, Swerve comes out, which I don't know why he didn't come out with Will Ospreay earlier. I found that kind of weird. But he delivers a chain to Adam Page, which I think was story relevant because I think they had their own hardcore match where a chain was used. They gave him the chain, and Adam uses it against Jon Moxley. It's a buckshot lariat into a board of nails. Maybe even had a dead eye. I can't remember. It's like a reverse tombstone type thing for those who don't know. But that didn't end the match. The match ended with Hangman using this chain to be the Hangman and hang, just like their previous Texas Tech match ended before. He hangs him on the outside. They look so violent, so nasty, but it's like this dude's like on the brink of death, and it's a death match. Like like that was the only thing that was going to stop this supervillain Jon Moxley, and he taps out because he's about to. The only way that he was going to be stopped was fearing for his life. Adam Page finally takes the AEW title out of that annoying gray briefcase that Jon Moxley has been carrying around. AEW saved. Massive celebration. Massive emotional moment for Adam Page. All In was amazing. And if you have not watched an AEW pay-per-view, I know we're used to WWE giving us PLEs for free if you already have, Peacock, but for the love of pro wrestling, go watch AEW, go watch their pay-per-views. Because even if you don't want to watch AEW week to week, their pay-per-views never, since I've been around, they've never let down on their pay-per-views. But anyway, we've spent a lot of time on here, guys. Thank you for anybody who has stuck around during the whole thing. Would like to do this again. I will try to look at you guys more in the future. Yeah, this was fun. We'll talk some more later. Next time I'm looking to hear from you guys, though. I think we'll do some like Q&A or something. I'm in the future thinking about doing a live show, possibly weekly or bi-weekly. I'm not sure. I'm also getting used to this whole thing. Scheduling is kind of weird with the work schedule, and I apologize. We're only just now getting to R&R in this live stream, but yeah. But for those who are here. Definitely appreciate you hanging out with me. Next time, let's shout out some comments. Talk a little bit of wrestling, but this was mostly for R&R. So yeah, but definitely like to chat with you guys a lot more next time. Let's do some like Q&A or something. Let me know what you guys want to see from WWE and AEW in the future. But until then, you guys know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe. Join us for our next live stream. And of course, we love you guys. Enjoy pro wrestling. And for the love of pro wrestling, keep it casual. Good night, guys.